I lowered my head slightly. Living here is convenient for me, it's convenient for me to go to school, and it's convenient for you to take care of Dora. This kind of expression would please him. Actually, I later understood what Alvin meant when he said he liked me. Ding! Wisnovel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. He was probably a pervert. The more he liked someone, the more he wanted to see her sad. As long as I cried because of him, I broke down because of him, his brain would make him feel more satisfied than anything else. So I returned all of this to him. I didn't know if he would break down and turn against his beloved younger brother. But what about me? But I think my younger brother should be more convenient, right? Alvin tapped the bar with his hand. Has he played with you here? Crazy images surged uncontrollably in my mind, but I kept calm, took a big step forward, and embraced his waist. Feeling extremely wronged. You treated me like that, you left me alone and spent 3 months with another girl, you didn't say a word when she humiliated me, and even comforted her. And now you're saying this to me, Alvin. Why didn't I know before that you were so bad? As I spoke, the tears that should have been shed long ago flowed out at this moment. Alvin gently stroked my head and played with the ends of my hair. Her boyfriend beat her at home that night, and Dora wanted to save dignity, so I didn't say anything. I didn't spend time with her either. I went to Italy to follow up on a project. And it was Dora who came on her own. I've always been indifferent to this kind of thing, you know, Maria. I was too lenient with her, but I won't be anymore. I slightly lifted my head and looked at him with teary eyes. Then why didn't you explain? I wanted to see you sad, Maria. His eyes were slightly red. The sadder you are, the more excited I am. What should I do? I suddenly pushed him away. Are you insane? Yes. He nodded in agreement, holding my hand. I'll try my best to change, just don't provoke me like you did today. After half arguing and half throwing a tantrum with Alvin, I finally managed to coax him away. It was almost the end of the semester, and Edison pestered me to tutor him. One tutoring session costs $3,000. I prepared the teaching materials seriously for 3 days, dressed in the most formal sweatshirt and pants, and knocked on Edison's door. He just got up, his hair was still messy, and he had sleepy eyes. We have 2 months left until the final exam. How about Monday to Friday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., and Saturday afternoon from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m.? Any objections? I want to play basketball. It doesn't finish until after 8 o'clock. How about you wait for me at the basketball court, and we can study on the way? Edison smiled brightly. Even a fool could tell what he was up to. I indulgently smiled at him. Yuri's so diligent in your studies, of course, that's fine. Edison's room had a large computer desk, which was enough for me to teach him. I opened the teaching materials and started the lesson, but there was no response from him for a long time. When I looked up, I found him staring at my collar. The collar of my sweatshirt was a bit loose, and my breasts were vaguely visible. I covered my chest suddenly and closed the teaching materials. I won't teach anymore. Find someone else. He grabbed my wrist and his thin lips pursed slightly. I was wrong, don't be angry. Can you change your clothes? This is my most conservative outfit. Edison stopped talking and threw me one of his jackets. He turned on the air conditioner and muttered, "It's my fault." I sneered and pulled his jacket up to the top. Perhaps realizing that I was really angry, he started to take the lesson seriously. Until the end of today's class, he lazily leaned back in his chair, holding my hand and playing around. I worked so hard today, don't I deserve a reward? We still have 2 months left. Do you want a reward every day? I'll give you a reward after you pass the exam. Okay. When Edison is not crazy, he is like a well-behaved dog and very easy to fool. It was because of my stupidity, which was controlled by the plot, that I repeatedly angered his nerves. Because the head of the department wanted to discuss a project with me, I arrived at the basketball court a little later than usual. I found the basketball court in a mess, as if a fight had taken place. I had a bad feeling in my heart. I squeezed in and saw Edison with red eyes, holding down a boy and punching him, blood splattering everywhere. He was going crazy, and no one dared to approach him. In fact, everyone only played with Edison because they were attracted to the power of the Knight family. No one genuinely cared about him. Edison Knight. I held back my fear and shouted at him from the center of the crowd. I didn't have any expectations, but he actually stopped. He looked up at me, his eyes red as if he had been crying. Clearly, he was the aggressor, but he acted as if he was the one who had been wronged. He stood up and walked towards me. Before he could embrace me, the sound of sirens blared. The crowd scattered as police officers in uniforms approached. I followed him into the police car. He only held my hand and looked out the window, not saying a word. At the police station, the police interrogated him while I could only stand outside and watch. I could only hear bits and pieces of what they were saying. Edison was uncooperative and didn't say a word. And the victim was still in the hospital. But I knew nothing would happen to Edison, because his brother had arrived. The chief of the police station personally came over to shake hands with him and exchanged pleasantries. Edison was released on bail. The matter at the hospital has been taken care of. Alvin put his hands in his pockets, his tone indifferent, without even scolding his younger brother. It seemed that to him, even killing someone was just a minor matter. "Thanks, bro." Edison hugged me and prepared to sit in the back seat with him. But he found that Alvin also opened the back door. "Alvin, you sit in the front seat." Edison Knight, sit in the front. Alvin glanced at him and got into the back seat. Edison kicked the car door and opened the front door with great impatience. I sat next to Alvin, behaving properly. But I could still feel that his mood was very bad. "I heard that you beat someone up because of Maria? It seems that person said you pushed Maria into the pool and played with her. She was just your toy, and the master doesn't like toys. So you got angry. Is that right?" Every word Alvin spoke seemed to be questioning his younger brother. But he was clearly trying to embarrass me. He sensed Edison's special feelings towards me, as well as the closeness between us. He felt threatened. So he used this method to wake me up. He wanted me to suffer. But I was already awake. However, I still did as he wished. I slowly clenched the hem of my skirt that was placed on my lap, and my head gradually lowered. Tears welled up in my eyes, but stubbornly refused to fall. "Alvin Knight. That's enough." Edison angrily shouted at him, his slender neck veins bulging. His eyes were bloodshot, as if he was looking at not his brother, but some mortal enemy. I knew that emotionally unstable lunatics had the potential to harm their loved ones. But Alvin was too calm. He smiled lightly, "All right. But I hope you won't have a next time. Don't cause trouble for the family. I don't want to always clean up your messes. Even brothers can get tired." No one spoke in the car anymore. Until the car stopped downstairs at our building. Edison and I got out of the car together, preparing to go upstairs, but found that Alvin had also followed. "It's only 10:30. You haven't taught me today." Edison's emotions had completely stabilized, his tone slightly raised, adding a hint of playfulness. "Teach what?" Alvin's smile disappeared, replaced by coldness. "After helping you for so long, won't you invite me up for a cup of tea?" Edison frowned. "What tea would you like?" "The exam is coming soon. Don't delay Maria from tutoring me." "Oh. Is she that amazing?" "I want to listen and see if she can help you with your studies." "Of course she's amazing." "Well, I know." Alvin glanced at me and smiled mysteriously. As I walked upstairs, Edison casually tossed his jacket to me. Ignoring the slightly cold gaze beside me, I put on the coat and buttoned it up, ready to start teaching him. Edison wanted to prove to his brother how good our relationship was, so every time he answered a question, he wanted me to praise him. "Yuri, amazing. You're so smart. No wonder it's you, Edison." Sometimes, he would pinch my hand or poke my face while I was writing the questions. When I got upset, he would apologize with a sheepish smile. "I'm sorry. Please don't ignore me. You can punish me if you want." His tone was gentle, like a couple playing around. Alvin just leaned to the side, holding a glass of wine, watching with a smirk. When the class was over, I opened my own door, and Alvin followed me inside. I instinctively turned my head and realized that Edison had already closed the door. My anxious heart finally settled. Alvin smirked as he watched my actions and gently caressed the side of my face. "Are you scared? You said we shouldn't let Edison know. Are you using my words as an excuse, Maria?" He stopped smiling, his hand no longer gentle. He forcefully grabbed my chin, forcing me to look directly at him. I pushed him away abruptly and looked at him with teary eyes. "Alvin, you jerk. Yuri speaking so loudly. Aren't you afraid my little brother will hear?" Alvin raised an eyebrow. "It was clearly you who disappeared, and it was clearly you who didn't want to make our relationship public. You even wanted me to get along well with him, but now you're turning the tables. I liked you so much, but you liked someone else. Don't think I don't know." Finally, Alvin's expression softened, and he smiled contentedly. "Who do I like?" "You're Dora, of course." I turned my head away, refusing to look at him, looking extremely aggrieved. "Well, indeed. That's what I used to think, but lately, I've been thinking more clearly. Why do I only want to sleep with you and have no interest in anyone else? Why do I only want to tease you and don't care about anyone else? Why do I want to kill anyone who gets too close to you, but I don't bother watching when someone sleeps with others in front of me? Why, Maria?" Alvin lowered his head slightly, his voice soft, seductive even. His gentle kiss landed on my lips. I turned my head and cried, "You're lying." "All right, I lied." Alvin indulgently kissed away my tears and embraced me in his arms. "I have a flight tonight. I'm going to France to bring you back a gift." I remembered, in the previous life, Alvin went to France with Dora. There was a shooting on the street, and Alvin got injured while protecting Dora. She took care of him in France, constantly posting on Twitter to show their intimacy. The last Twitter I saw was a night view of a hotel, with the caption, "So nervous." In the reflection on the glass window, I could see Alvin in a bathrobe. I cried alone while holding my phone. I kept calling Alvin, but no one answered. Perhaps they were entangled in each other. I thought we would break up when he returned, but Dora had a new boyfriend. It seemed like nothing had changed between Alvin and me, except that he started deliberately making me please his younger brother. Later, I knew the reason. Dora once asked Alvin, "I've had so many boyfriends. Are you really not disgusted with me? Your girlfriend is so obedient, and Edison used to treat her like that. I don't want to hurt her. I'm afraid she'll break down." Because I was too obedient, they wanted to tarnish me so that Dora could be with Alvin without guilt. "This time, let me go to France with Alvin. I want to go with you." Alvin smiled, seeming very happy. "What about my brother? Weren't you going to help him catch up on his studies? But I really miss you. I can video chat and help him with his classes. I'll just say there's something important at home that I have to go back for." "All right." Alvin pinched my nose and called his assistant, asking him to help me with the visa and plane ticket arrangements. On the third day of our stay in France, we bumped into Dora, who was there to check in. "Alvin, what a coincidence." Dora smiled sweetly. But when she saw me, her face turned pale instantly. "Why are you with this woman? I ascend she Edison's girlfriend?" Alvin glanced at her with a faint expression. "Dora, she's mine." Tears welled up in Dora's eyes, and she bit her lip, looking pitifully at Alvin. He smiled and teased her. "I'll find you a sister-in-law, isn't that what you've always wanted? Why are you crying?" His words were ambiguous. It seemed like I was just a decoration he casually brought along to reassure Dora. Sure enough, Dora blushed and smiled. I loosened my grip on his hand slightly, but he held it even tighter. "Alvin, I couldn't book a suite, there's only a single room. Can I stay with you guys?" "Of course you can." I smiled and agreed on his behalf. Dora never thought I would be so generous. She was stunned, while Alvin's eyes narrowed slightly, his gaze turning colder.